Midsomer Murders is still running, the longest British detective series ever made. The people who started it back in 1997 have lived entire lifetimes since that first episode aired, and almost nobody stopped to ask what happened to them. One of them is gone. One walked away from fame at 30 because of something a rugby commentator said. Once spent 14 years playing the warmest woman on television and quietly admitted she wished she were actually that kind. This is what happened to the original cast of Midsomer Murders. Number 1, John Nettles as DCI Tom Barnaby. If you watched Midsomer Murders from the beginning, you know exactly what I mean. When I say, John Nettles felt like the most reassuring man on British television. Steady, decent, always in control. That was Tom Barnaby. That was the face we trusted every Sunday evening for 14 years. What I found out was that the man behind that calm had spent his whole life fighting a quiet terror most of us never knew about. John Nettles was born in Cornwall in 1943, given up at birth by an Irish nurse who had crossed to wartime England. His father was never identified. He was adopted by a carpenter and his wife, and in a 1999 interview, he admitted to a chronic fear of poverty he believes drove his adoptive parents to early graves. I always assumed the reassurance was just good acting. It turns out it was something harder won than that. He is 82 now. Number 2, Barry Jackson as Dr. George Bullard. That image of John Nettles standing in a field, composed and reliable, is worth holding on to, because the man who bent over the bodies beside him had a past that looked nothing like his present. I think most of us filed Barry Jackson away as a gentle fixture. Dr. George Bullard, dry-wit, sensible shoes, 76 episodes across 14 series. What I found out was that earlier in his career he worked as a stuntman under a false name, Jack Barry, and in 1966 he played the cold rent collector in Ken Loach's Cathy Come Home, production later ranked as one of the greatest British television dramas ever made. The same man. Honestly, that contrast got to me. He was born in Birmingham in 1938, named after a theatre founder his working-class father admired. He died at home in North London in December 2013, age 75, surrounded by his family, 6 children, a third wife, a full life behind a very quiet face. Number 3, Jane Wymark as Joyce Barnaby. Jane Wymark spent 14 years playing a woman defined by what she gave. Joyce Barnaby. Patient, warm, long-suffering in the most affectionate sense. If you watched the show, you know exactly what I mean. She was the still point the whole drama rotated around. What surprised me was the weight she carried into that role. Jane Wymark was born in 1952, the daughter of Patrick Wymark, a celebrated RSC actor and BAFTA-winning television star. In October 1970, father died suddenly of a heart attack in a Melbourne hotel room while on tour. He was 44. Jane was 17. Of course, I always assumed actors who play warmth that convincingly simply have it naturally. It turns out warmth can also be something you build carefully for a long time after loss. She is 73 now, still working, and in one early interview she admitted she wished she were as genuinely kind as the woman she played. That kind of honesty stays with you. Number 4, Daniel Casey as D.S. Gavin Troy. Daniel Casey spent years playing someone younger than the moment demanded, and then had to decide when to stop. You probably remember Gavin Troy, the eager sergeant, a little naive quietly, ambitious. He and Barnaby had a chemistry that felt completely unforced, because, according to Casey, it was. He says they had it from the very first scene they shot together. What I found out was that Casey was only 24 when he took the role, and at 30, watching a rugby match, he heard a commentator say, "The only risk in life is never to take a risk." He said it felt like the man was talking directly to him, so he left. 29 episodes, a household face. And he walked away, I was wrong to assume that was a quiet exit. In 2025, he returned to the Midsomer world, not as Troy, but as Tom Barnaby himself on stage. The sergeant stepping into the inspector's shoes. That took something. 5. Laura Howard as Cully Barnaby. Daniel Casey made a deliberate choice to leave at the height of his visibility. Laura Howard did something quieter, and in some ways harder. She stayed for 12 years, and almost nobody noticed what she was doing on the side. Cully Barnaby, the daughter. Aspiring actress within the show, actual actress outside it. If you watched the series, you probably thought of her as a warm, recurring presence between the murders. What I found out was that while she was filming Midsomer, she was also performing at the Donmar Warehouse, the RSC, and Chichester Festival Theatre, world premieres of Alan Ayckbourn plays. Serious classical work. Running parallel to Sunday evening television for over a decade. This one genuinely surprised me. She had no drama school training. Her father was a shipping consultant, her mother a psychiatrist. She built 2 careers simultaneously and mentioned neither loudly. She was 19 in the first episode, 30 when she filmed the wedding and left. She is around 48 now, still working, and still, I suspect, somewhat underestimated. Toby Jones as Dr. Dan Peterson. Laura Howard built a career in plain sight that most people missed entirely. Toby Jones spent most of the 90s building one that almost nobody saw at all. He appeared in 4 Midsomer episodes between 1999 and 2000, temporary pathologist. A placeholder, really. What I found out was that, at exactly that moment, he was somewhere in the middle of one of the most quietly extraordinary journeys in British acting. His father was Freddie Jones. A titan of British character acting, David Lynch once tweeted after his father's death in 2019, aged 91, simply that he loved Freddie Jones. I always assumed Toby Jones arrived fully formed. It turns out he spent years training at Jacques Lecoq's physical theatre school in Paris, taking tiny roles, being overlooked. His 2006 portrayal of Truman Capote was considered by many critics to surpass the performance that won the Oscar that same year. He was in 4 Midsomer episodes. 4. That detail still catches me. Number 7. John Hopkins as DS Dan Scott. Toby Jones spent years invisible before the world caught up with him. John Hopkins had the opposite problem. The world saw him immediately for entirely the wrong reasons. ITV cast him as DS Dan Scott in 2004 because of how he looked. That is not speculation, it is documented. The character was written as a ladies' man, and Hopkins fit the image. If you watched series 7 and 8, you probably remember him as the handsome placement for Troy. Confident, a little cocky, good in a scene. What I found out was that he had already completed a full season with the Royal Shakespeare Company before that first episode aired. He left Midsomer after 2 series, went straight back to the RSC, played Caesar opposite Patrick Stewart. I was wrong to file him away as a television face. By 2018, The Guardian critic Michael Billington called him one of our best Shakespearean actors. Times named him one of the 10 best British stage actors working today. He is around 50 now, quietly extraordinary, almost entirely unknown to the audience that watched him every Sunday. Number 8. Neil Conrich as PC Angel. Neil Conrich never had visibility to walk away from. 7 episodes. 6 years, PC Angel. A face in the background of scenes you have watched a dozen times without registering his name. During my research, I noticed that he appears in the very first episode and keeps reappearing quietly through to 2003. No storyline, no farewell, present, then not present. What I found out was that he kept working. Foyle's War, Wallander, Hornblower, small parts steadily taken across a long career. No profile, no interview I could find, just the work itself, year after year. All of them gave audiences something genuinely rare, a place that felt safe, a world that made sense. For a lot of people watching in 1997, and in 2003, and in 2011, that mattered more than anyone ever said out loud.